And so before I start this video, I just want to pay tribute to an MP in England that was stabbed in his constituency office, so David Amess. Now, it was a horrific attack, and I'm sure everybody agree, nobody deserves to be stabbed to death in the constituency office, serving the people, in front of his staff, in front of the members of the public. Nobody deserves that, nobody deserves it. And obviously I condemn it in the strongest possible language, and it does raise the issue that really, if an MP or even a member of government or in any country can be stabbed and can be got at by anybody, that an ordinary member of the public has no chance walking the streets or anything like that, like in England, as you know, knife crime in England, that's off the charts. It's really just off the charts in the United Kingdom, knife crime, particularly in London. And obviously when an MP gets stabbed and stabbed to death, you really just question yourself about everything, really everything. Because if an MP can be killed in broad daylight, in a church, above anything else in a church, then any of us could be stabbed at any moment, at any time. And that's something that's terrifying to hear. But anyway, on to the next subject. And again, I just want to pay tribute to David. He seemed, going by everybody and what everybody was saying about him, he was pro-lifer. He cared deeply about people. He was very, very good in his constituency. He worked with people, and obviously he wanted to, and obviously I'm grateful to the Queen of England for granting status for his, so I think it was South Sea on End, to be granted city status as he fought for so many years. So yeah, I'm grateful to the Queen for that. It's a fitting tribute for a man who served for serving his constituency for so long, for nearly 40 years, 1980, sorry. Very tribute. And obviously we rest in peace, and please God that the person who done this then be brought to justice, and is the police custody will be brought to justice and will face justice for his actions. So rest in peace to David. I just thought to say that. But again, onto the topic at hand here, the safety of politicians in Ireland here. As you know, there hasn't really been political assassination here. We've seen in the UK in the last years Sir David, and then Joe Cox too, back during the Brexit, I think it was Brexit referendum, 5 years ago, nearly 4 years ago, I say. And obviously another tragic incident. Again, nobody deserves to be killed for the political beats or whatever, political beliefs or whatever. Nobody deserves that fate. Really, nobody deserves that fate. And again, it does raise the question about safety of Irish politicians. Either being the door in the constituency office, and I will talk for a second about the constituency office for a second. And the majority of county councils and TDs I know in Cavan, and other places too, they have somebody with them. Some of them do have somebody with them, either be a secretary or something like that. They're not on the road, and the majority of the time when I'm with them, they're not on the road. There's somebody else with them somewhere there. But again, yes, I do think that it is important to have somebody there, but there is a lot of them. Well, probably because particularly they know me and they feel they know who I am. And they feel more comfortable compared to the only Joe going in that don't know. Again, they would know who I am, and know that I'm no danger to anybody. So that's probably another thing too. But again, it has to be reconsidered. It does really have to be reconsidered, because again, it could happen. It really, really could happen. And we do have to be aware of the risk. We really, really have to be aware of the risk to TDs and to county councils too. It's important too, because we have to be careful. We do have to take care of them, because they are elected to represent the people. And again, it's about kind of democracy too, because you can't have a politician or any member of somebody that's representing democracy and representing your constituency. You can't have anybody trying to intimidate or threaten them in their line of work. It's the same in any line of work. But again, I do want to talk briefly. Again, there's been some protests outside some politicians' houses. And again, I don't mind people protesting. You can protest to your heart's content everywhere. You have every right under the sun. But again, I'm just saying in the personal life, if I was a TD in the morning, or a county council or whatever, or Taoiseach or whatever, president in the morning, I wouldn't, again, the one place I would leave out is somebody's house, because I do believe that your house is sacred. Your house is sacred. You're safe in your house. You should not be harassed in your house. I don't mind if a politician's walking on the street, you can challenge him on different things or anything like that, or you could protest if he's going to the cafe down the road. You could protest outside there, but I don't believe these people's houses. If they have children or anything, and again, I know people disagree with me on that, and I know some of the politicians in this country are very questionable, to say the least. But I don't think they deserve people going to their houses and protesting outside their houses. I don't think they deserve that. Because again, I'm saying in my personal belief, this is my personal belief. Again, I was taught that your house is sacred, and nothing should be done to it, and nothing should be done to disturb or interfere with your house. It's a sacred place. It's your home. Nobody should come and interfere or be outside or do anything to your house. And I know some people say it's peaceful, but you know they were peaceful protests. Nothing happened. Like they didn't burn the house or anything. I understand that. But again, I wouldn't do it. Again, I know they really have every right under the sun unless they bring in a law. But again, it's just my opinion, really. It's just my opinion, because I wouldn't want anybody to do it to my house or anything like that. I wouldn't mind it. Like again, if I was on the road, if I'm on the road, I have no problem with anybody coming up to me. It's just I would, like just for me to be respected in my house. If I was in my house, for people just to respect a small bit of privacy, just a small bit. I wouldn't mind if it was anywhere else in the public domain. I wouldn't mind. It's just the house. That's I'd rather be, relaxing in the house and things like that. But and obviously in relation to trending emails and things like that, there is, and again I know particularly a lot of women TDs and county councils do get trending emails, and it is upsetting that women do get trending emails. It isn't nice again for people to anonymous emails to be emailing TDs or county councils. We've heard them many times before, and threatening things, or even threatening the children. I've heard of things like that being said to county councils, threatening the children at school. Now I'm sure you would agree that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable behaviour to go threaten somebody's children, and then to threaten anybody full stop. It's unacceptable. In a country, in a democracy, in any state, it's unacceptable to threaten anybody, from harm or anything like that. And I'm sure you would agree, because we shouldn't go around hurting people, because again, it only hurts ourselves. At the end of the day, it only hurts ourselves. We only end up in trouble and in prison and being demonised by society. It only hurts yourself. It really, really does in the end of the day, and along with hurt others in the community and the person in question. I want to mind what blank actually got off my head, but again, I know ministers do get protection, and ministers in the normal 40 logical government, they do get protection. Ministers do, because they have obviously ministers in the government, high position in government. But it does have to be reconsidered. And I talked briefly about the effects in County Cavan a few years ago, with obviously Quinn Industrial Holdings and things like that, and obviously people being kidnapped. Kevin Lonnie, the torture of Kevin Lonnie, and arson attacks and the absolutely horrendous attacks on people that was committed by organised gangs in the Cavan border area. And obviously they did threaten politicians. They did threaten politicians in the county. They threatened county councils. They threatened different people, which is obviously unacceptable too. But again, there is threats. They do get threats, and we should realise that. And I know some people would say, that's what they're there for, county councils. That they should be able to take it. But again, we have to put ourselves into their shoes sometimes too. It isn't fair, again, especially when you have young children. It isn't fair. It is really not fair on the children and on the father, or even the mother, if he is a politician or he is a politician. Again, we do have to be mindful of this in this country. Hope, please God, it never will happen that anybody will be assassinated in political office in this country. Please God, it will never happen. But please God, that it doesn't ever happen in this country. But just to say, yeah, that's really it. That's all I say. Anyway, take care.